Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this beautiful July the 1st. My name is Jamie Stark. Welcome to the July the 1st edition of the Skype video broadcast. Woohoo! Joined by Paul Cannon. How you doing, Paul?
Doing great, Jamie. Thanks for having me here, and I'm really excited to talk about what I believe is one of your top 3 topics, SFB Mac.
Yay! Yay! So great. There's actually a ton of announcements that we've got for this release or for this broadcast. There's been a bunch of work that has come to fruition. We've got a whole bunch to talk about.
So I would say let's tease them out with the Mac and let's get these announcements done first. I think it'll be awesome.
So we actually have the real live Mac here in Paul's lap, ready to roll. We'll kind of go through. I'll go through all that, but let's go into it. Probably the first thing that all the server customers should be aware of is that we have released the June 2016 update to Skype for Business server. And so this is, of course, a lot of our conversations these days have been about online and have been about hybrid and bringing more capabilities up to Office 365. But of course, we are still actively working on bringing new stuff into the server.
All the time. It's so exciting. There's a bunch of features I know you're going to talk about, but I'm excited about one in particular.
So what is the feature that you're excited about, Paul?
So I'm super excited to sub-announce under Jamie's major announcement that VBSS, video-based screen sharing, is coming to Skype Server 2015.
And so this is a feature that we had in the clients initially.
Right.
So if 2 clients of the same vintage were connecting to one another over a peer-to-peer session.
That's right.
They, instead of using RDP, instead of using the traditional protocol, they would use instead a video protocol. Is that right?
That's right. And that came last September, in fact.
Okay. So we've had that peer-to-peer in the clients for a while, and then the step after that was bringing it into the cloud for meetings, right?
That's right. And that came in the last couple of months.
Okay. And then here we are bringing it now into the server, and it's just one of those functions where the updates to the clients through click to run and the updates to the cloud just through our normal update process, those happen constantly. We can't churn out the software on the on-premises front constantly. I don't know if the IT pros out there in the audience, they may not be so happy if we did that either, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't want to have a weekly cumulative update.
See you every week. I bet you don't, right?
Yeah. Well, that is almost kind of where we are with the cloud, actually. I mean, just in the way of
but
how
doing the install, right?
Well, we get to do that. That's one of the big advantages, right? But anyway, so we've got video-based screen sharing, peer-to-peer meetings now, online and on-premises.
Yeah.
That should just work with one small asterisk, right?
And which one's that, Jamie?
With the one small asterisk being if you have clients that don't support video-based screen sharing.
Sorry.
So what'll happen is that so let's say you have a meeting, you've got 3 clients, they're all the same vintage, they're all Skype 2016 clients, and you're doing screen sharing, that'll be using video-based screen sharing. But then if a mobile client comes in that doesn't support video-based screen sharing yet, or if a partner is joining and they're still on Link 2010 or Link 2013
or a Mac preview
through
client.
Federated or a Mac preview client, that's right. Yeah. All of those clients still support just RDP. And so by joining, essentially the mechanism for joining into that meeting actually says, oh, hey, now I'm a client and I only support RDP. And so then, then all the clients transparently switch back to using RDP.
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
I'm totally sorry that I missed the cue.
It's cool. I wasn't. You can tell how extensively we script these and practice these broadcasts.
Yeah.
2 other kind of key features on the voice front that we've brought into CU3, busy options and multiple emergency number support. And, these are kind of wonky voice things, so I'm the voice guy. Of course, I'm going to get a little bit more excited about them. Busy options is the capability that says, look, by default, when a user calls into when somebody calls into a Skype user, that Skype user's device is going to ring, even if they're already on a call. It won't ring, obviously, if they're in Do Not Disturb. It'll automatically go into voicemail then. But the concept behind busy options is to say, look, if I'm already in a call or if I'm already busy or if I'm in a conference, instead of ringing my phone, I instead want to present a busy signal back to the caller. And that's a fairly popular feature for a few different countries that
Yeah.
that's part of their culture. It's part of the way that they say. Yeah.
I was going to say that Europe, it seems like it's a big deal, and especially our German customers oftentimes would rate this feature when asked to stack rank features that are coming, but oftentimes push this one right to the top of the stack. So it's fascinating that it actually exposes some cultural ways people are still doing business in some countries.
Definitely, and the importance of kind of the busy signal as this presence model from 50, 100 years ago, right? Like binary presence, but still, that matters, and that's something that we wanted to support.
I think the message always has been, hey, the German customers would say to us, or the customers through the field would always say, for the Germans at least, it was very important not to look like they were ignoring you.
Yeah.
but if it's a busy signal, that's okay.
That's right, because you're working. You're doing something. Exactly. You're helping out another client. That's perfectly reasonable. Multiple emergency number support, also really important internationally. Mm-hmm. The concept being here, we've always been able to support different emergency numbers, but there are some regions where you may have 3 different numbers to call depending upon what type of emergency, or depending upon your particular some other eccentricities of your location, and that's been another one that we've wanted to support in the server for a long time. Great that we've got that available. In addition to a whole bunch of bug fixes, a whole bunch of just kind of great great enhancements that we've made to the product in terms of quality. So if you're on server, don't hesitate to check it out. There's tons of links on Twitter and all over the place. And a bunch of our MVPs are cracking open the video-based screen sharing on the server and looking at and looking at all the protocol flows and stuff. And so you can definitely find that.
And I just want to say that in the last couple of days, out on our external SFB IT Pro Yammer forum, I dropped the link both to the download itself as well as the primary documentation point. Perfect. So you can go cruise both and do as Jamie says, take a look at it and get cracking.
We call this internally cumulative update 3 because this is the 3rd update since the release of Skype for Business server. So we had one, so kind of the server kind of got released in the May timeframe. So we had one at the end of the 3rd quarter calendar 2015.
That's right.
Then the end of the 4th quarter, and then this is. Oh no, so I guess maybe I got the dates a little bit wrong. I think we waited a month and then we waited a quarter and then we started the release cycle. But anyway, while we call it internally CU3, externally, when you look out on the web, it's the June 2016 update for Skype for Business server.
And I'm usually the client guy, so I get to ask the dumb server questions to some of the guys who worry about the servers a lot more than I do. And so I guess the cumulative means something in that update, right?
Yeah.
I have to go back and install all the ones that we've released?
Absolutely not. So we roll up all of the updates and we provide them in one single step. And so that's great, especially for partners and folks that they're going out and deploying new servers today. Right. You don't have to go and deploy CU1, CU2, and CU3. You just deploy the baseline and then add CU3 on top of that. And even then, we've added in Skype for Business server an automatic update functionality that'll automatically see if there are updates available and install them as part of the initial install process too. Yeah, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
We kind of jumped in. We actually didn't do any of the normal meeting, like Skype for Business broadcast hygiene stuff that we normally do. So yeah, this is the thing that Paul generally yells at me or Sean about for not doing. So
that's right.
So here's what we got going on in the broadcast. We don't have Q&A running today because we're basically all of us are deeply involved in doing this broadcast. So we don't have somebody in the back looking after Q&A today. So we don't have that up and running. But happy to take any questions on the Yammer forum. Go out to Yammer, the IT Pro Network. There's a group there for Skype for Business. Go ahead and hit us up on there. Happy to take any questions there. We do have the Bing Pulse going though, so that'll be on the right-hand side of your screen. Yep. Love seeing who's coming out. Love seeing where you're coming from. And so as there are questions that are popping up there, please don't hesitate to answer them. We really do find that data valuable, and it's super useful.
Yeah,
so
totally agree. Awesome.
Okay, so before we get to Mac, we've got a couple more new things that have just released literally today. So one of the things that's interesting about how we're releasing software in the cloud is we're really aligning towards the beginning of the calendar month as kind of the time that that stuff gets turned on. A lot of times that's because of the way our price list kind of activities happen.
Yeah.
And so this first one is essentially the availability now of PSTN calling on the price list for the United Kingdom. And so in short, PSTN calling in the UK is now generally available as of today, as of 7/1.
That's great news.
So yeah, we've had this operating in preview now for about 7 weeks, since kind of mid-May or so. Have had a ton of response, have had a ton of volume, worked out a couple great kinks around how number portability works and some of the core things in the service. Feeling really, really good about where we are with the service. And so this is now generally available. One of the things that's interesting though is that while it's generally available, it's immediately available for folks that are on our EA program, that are getting the software through an EA. Folks that normally get Office 365 over the web, that'll be about 2 weeks for that portion of the kind of commerce platform to be ready to sell UK calling. Generally, we like to align all this stuff to where no matter how you buy the software, it's always available at the same time. In this case, we were just off by about 2 weeks for a couple different releases of software. But
yeah, that's exciting. I've got another one to add in too.
Okay. Yeah.
So I realize that we probably haven't talked a lot about it yet, but our government customers, we refer to where they typically buy is GCC. I don't know if I'm not actually even sure if that's really an external term. Is that something
Government Community Cloud, yeah.
Yeah, but it's our Government Community Cloud. And so out there, today, you cannot yet trial PSTN conferencing. I'm happy to announce that we are planning the trial portion for PSTN conferencing the first week of August, likely August 1, but as you know, we like to sandbag a little bit, so give our guys a couple extra days if they need it. But we should have conferencing there in trial format, and that will be easy to do. If you are a customer, you'll be able to directly request that, or if you're in the field, you'll be able to do that through your normal channels. So that's great news. And then following up, in late September, I expect that people will be able to buy that. So those initial trials, if you want to try it, great. You'll be able to trial it for 90 days, and that should get you through the period until we're ready to begin to turn it on and allow people to purchase it.
Very, very cool. Rolls right into another announcement that we have. So speaking of conferencing,
it's an announcement palooza.
It's just one of those things. Like there's just been a bunch of work that's now ready. So this one's pretty fun. With regard to conferencing, the conference dialing capability, or PSTN conferencing. So we've have that operating in the service for a while. A lot of our work has been growing the places where people can purchase and then also have dial-in locations for PSTN conferencing. And so now there's like over 60 or so locations that can buy it. There's even more dial-in locations that are available now. And then after that, then we added in consumption billing to be able to handle cases where folks are doing international dial-outs from PSTN conferencing. And now, also kind of related to PSTN conferencing and consumption billing, is toll-free number support. That is available today.
Oh, that's great.
As of June the 1st. Comes up a ton. Yeah. Really, really, fantastic feature. This again is one of those cases where it will be rolling out over the course of July. And so this is a fascinating process because essentially the way that toll-free numbers work is that they kind of wrap around an existing toll number. So there's a little bit more infrastructure that we need to test kind of end to end, and each toll-free number is unique in each country, right? So if I have a toll-free number in France, that toll-free number can only be dialed from within France, and that's different from a toll-free number that's in Germany that can only be dialed within Germany. Right. And so that means that as we roll it out across the service, that takes a little bit of time. And I've got a page that'll be up and running on support.office.com. It's not available right now. It'll be available within a couple hours. That details all the different countries where you can find and acquire and configure and set up in your tenant toll-free numbers for your dial-in.
That's exciting.
It is.
That's great.
Really, really neat stuff. Anyone can use the toll-free numbers to dial in. One of the things that you can do though, if you don't want to have the toll-free numbers be available immediately to all of your users' meetings, you can actually configure the toll-free numbers to not show up in the initial meeting invite. That may be a topic of another broadcast that we do here in a little bit. Is a little bit more of the cloud side meeting configuration. Sean and I did a whole bunch of stuff last session on meeting configuration, kind of client side, but there's a whole other admin view of that as well that we can kind of go into. This is one of them, just around what numbers do you want to have show up on the invite. Anybody can click on the find a number and get the whole list, including the toll-free numbers you have configured. But you can set it up to where the numbers that show up initially in the invite are just the toll numbers. Now you do need to have PSTN conferencing, and you do need to have consumption billing, because while it's toll-free for the caller, you're paying for it through your tenant. Like that's the way it works. And that payment system is through the consumption billing process. So anyone that has those services set up, you can now find and acquire toll-free numbers, and those toll-free numbers are in kind of about 30 countries right now, and those will be expanding throughout July as we roll out the service to all these different countries and make sure that we've got all the testing and all this set up. So we've got CU3 for the server. We've got conferencing coming into trial for Government Community Cloud.
UK.
That's right. UK PSTN Calling available today, right now. You can do it. If you buy through the web, it'll be about 2 weeks for you. If you buy through EA or if you buy through other channels, available immediately, and then toll free for PSTN conferencing. So just a cavalcade of stuff here. This has all happened within the last 4 days.
Right.
And it's funny because I want to say like 5 days ago, or at the end of last week, we were sitting around going, oh, what should we talk about? And then we realized, like,
that's right.
Oh, there's a bunch of.
I was getting nervous. I was like, I don't know how long my section will be. And suddenly, we're okay.
No, we're good. Yeah, we're good. There's a ton. Speaking of which, there's some Mac stuff. There's some Mac love to talk about.
There might be just a little bit of Mac news. So thanks, Jamie. Let's go ahead and start talking about the Mac now. Jamie, as I told you before we started, I put together a 703 slide thing. I hope you've cleaned
I've got it. It's already here.
Already?
So should I switch over to the 700 slide deck?
Yeah, slide one will be sort of the history of Microsoft, and we'll kind of go from there. Okay. That joke is so old. We in fact, this morning we talked about that joke, and we called it the dad joke, right? That's a dad joke. Clearly, I'm a dad
joke of technology presenters and marketers.
We should make a rule that's the last time I try to do that. I think I've done this joke more than once in these broadcasts. So that's bad. So yeah, let's jump in. I don't have any slides about the Mac, but instead I thought perhaps I'd talk a little bit about what's happening and then demonstration. How's that work?
Totally. Okay, so we're gonna talk about because I also want us to talk about the setup that we've got going on here.
Great.
The setup is kind of different.
Maybe you should do that first.
Okay, so Paul's got a Mac in his lap, right? Yeah. And it just lost its
power
cable.
cord.
That's good. Okay, power cord. No worries. All right,
we're all good.
All right. So Paul's got a Mac in his lap, and so that is connected to a Windows PC using VNC, using a cross-platform screen sharing setup, right?
Yeah, because the Mac, and to be clear, it's just because the Mac makes VNC essentially support is built into the Mac, so it makes it easy for us to connect.
And then we have that Windows PC piped into my PC using a Magewell. So using the HDMI to USB video adapter. So it's just a tiny little adapter, and then that goes in as a normal video input into Skype for Business. You would think, well, why do you have this extra Windows PC? That doesn't make any sense. Have the Magewell plug into the Mac, and we tried that a few different times, and
yeah. So Magewell, if you happen to be out there, we'd love for you to drop us an email and tell us what we're doing wrong. We just cannot get the Mac to go through that Magewell. But what's really cool too, and I think for those, I always just I'm the dumb guy on the team, so it's my job to state the patently obvious. So Jamie says it's video into his PC. So literally, then what happens in the Skype for Business client, it literally sees that as a camera, right? Just another video camera. And so Jamie can say either use my actual camera, my real camera in the PC, or he can choose that feed as his camera, and that's what's going to happen here shortly, and then we'll be able to see it. So yes, there is a bit of a long chain of software having to all behave as well as hardware. So we beg your forgiveness in advance.
That's right.
Should we have a problem, or one of us is actually killed by the amount of technology that's
this whole giant preamble wasn't actually to explain what we were doing. It was just to ask for forgiveness.
Ask for forgiveness. I think the word beg.
So if you see any less than performant screen animations or whatever, understand that what you're seeing here is going through like 7 different codec layers of technology before it actually hits you. So going from the screen to your retina is actually awesome, but going through this screen through 7 different layers of technology then to your retina has some delay built in.
All right. So, and that explains why when you see the Mac demo, it will say it may look like it's coming from Jamie Stark's machine, but it is actually my Mac. So, Jamie, if you could switch us over.
All right, here we go.
I'll start talking a little bit about there's a couple things I want to cover. So this is the 3rd time we've covered the Mac. I just want to continue to remind everyone we are doing regular updates here and telling you about it. One of the things I think, as they say, I want to cover all the news that we can. And so one of the important things about the news, I want you to understand, first of all, I want to thank everyone. If you've wondered what the interest level was, it blew us away. We had 22,000 people actively sign up, 22,000 organizations and individuals, which actually translates to more than 22,000 because we usually use the rule of 5 to 1. So everybody who's identified as an organization is probably representing 5 or more users within their org. So that's a lot of people.
I thought you were ready to demo. I didn't realize you were going to be dropping stats. That's insane.
Yeah, it's a crazy number, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, like we've had a lot of success with the UK Calling preview, and we've gotten tons of traffic through it, but it's nowhere near just the raw number of endpoints and stuff. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing. Typically we expect or look to go to 1,000 to 2,000 active organizations and users when we do a preview of this nature. For this one, we knew you would be interested in it, so we sort of use a very Microsoft proprietary algorithm to figure out how many people we thought might join. And we thought, okay, 8,000 seems like a stretch goal. Let's say 8,000 amongst ourselves in engineering and all the other teams. And we blew right by that in the first 3 or 4 days. It was just like, boom, we just went right by that one. And I went, winner. But, taking credit for all your interests, really. And so what's interesting is now we're up to, we think, and this is a very rough number, but we think about 14 to 15,000 of you are still actively updating your preview download. So again, thank you very much. Now, that is the great news. The other news I have to share with you, and I have to just, this is part of the job of this video broadcast, is to tell you like it is, we have enough. We are, as you sit at the dinner table, you say, no, thank you, Mom, I'm full. And clearly, some of us didn't say that very often to their mother, but we are full. And so right now, what we're letting you know is that if you have not already joined the client, we have paused taking new submissions. So those who have the client right now will still be able to update. You'll still roll through. So those people I just talked about, all those numbers, they're going to be fine. But if you're brand new, this is the first time, I'm sorry, but we will not be letting you update. We are getting the amount of feedback we need. In fact, more than we can actually handle. And one of our goals was to say, hey, we want humans to answer humans, right? So when you give us feedback, we want one of our humans to answer your human. And as it turns out, when 15,000 people routinely give feedback, our humans are a little busy.
That's fantastic. Like, it's just, it really is amazing though. Like, just to be able to have these projections completely blown away by the interest in the community. I don't know. I feel really humbled by that. Yeah. It's completely fantastic that everyone has been so active and so vocal and so participatory in this preview, because it all just drives towards having a better end product. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, bummer that we can't continue to have folks come on, but it's just, what do you do? Like, there's just, you double the projections and,
Right.
Oh my goodness.
That's absolutely right. So,
well, now we know, what do we do? Now we know for next time.
That's right.
Now we know the scale of how we need to plan these things out next time around, and then we won't,
and we'll
plan for 4X.
Right. Exactly. So the other thing to just clarify is that it is a pause. I didn't say we've stopped taking any. Now, so it's a pause. So our next big event will be when we begin adding all the different voice features to the product. And so as we get close to that timing, we'll evaluate the amount of feedback. Our support engineers will tell us how much feedback we're getting. And if for whatever reason it's dropped, then we may open the door again, but I don't want to make any promises. The reality is that we just will evaluate that as we approach preview 3.
So voice features, I've got to get a Mac now. I've got to have. I mean,
that's right.
Voice features. That's my thing. I'm the voice guy.
You're the voice guy.
I'm the voice guy. I should have some Mac. I should be testing out the voice features.
That's right.
That's coming
but
soon.
If this is your way of asking me for budget, you're not getting any from me, Jake.
All right. Can we just see it? Because I actually haven't seen it yet, and this is just so exciting.
Yeah, we've hit now 30 minutes. Let's go ahead and take them into it.
Nice.
So, okay. So hopefully by now you can see my Mac client, and so what we see here right now is something that should be very familiar to you, and you can actually see that's actually my photo there. I swear it was only photoshopped a little bit, but so here is the client, and you can see it starts off in the calendar. This should be if you have the client right, this should be a very familiar view to you. We can see all the different meetings and all the different things that have been going on my calendar.
Busy damn calendar.
That's
goodness
right.
Gracious.
And that's right. It is a little busy, and so what we can actually do is then look through and then let's take a look at some of the other things. So before in the past, you may or may not have seen these items yet come in, but now we actually have conversation history. Nice. So here is a collection of conversation history. Now, our plan is to eventually see conversation history as in the view of from the people perspective. So we call people-centric conversations. Today, it's a little bit of mix. You can see there's different conversations for different moments, depending on when I've chatted with James Skay, our behind-the-scenes guy, who is our long-suffering guy who's taking care of the Bing Pulse. He's my demo buddy.
Oh yeah, that's right, the Bing Pulse. Don't forget about the Bing Pulse. Answer the Bing Pulse. Thank you.
Yeah, if you're out there now, please answer those Bing Pulse questions. It really helps guide us as to what's going on and how you feel about the meeting. So you can see all these. We'll drill into this into a moment. And then, hey, here's a bunch of folks. And this is actually showing, I had to double check it, make sure, but this is showing all of our actual setup. So these are some of my actual groups that I see every day, right? I can see different teams. I can see my own team that I work on, Barbie's crew. Sorry, Barbie, if you're out there. This doesn't go into my annual review. And so we can go through and see all those folks and click through and see that, which is great. So we've added, as I said, we've added IM, and you've just seen, and contacts, or sometimes we refer to them as people. And then you can also see conversation history, which is great. And those are pretty obvious features, which we'll demonstrate in a moment. But there are also a couple others I want to show you as well. And that will revolve around, we've snuck in P2p Calling, kind of cool. So although we don't have the full set of traditional voice features, we have made it the ability to actually call people directly, which is great. And then we also have snuck in some meeting enhancements, which again, they landed a little earlier than what this new build coming next week will do. So perhaps you've seen it, perhaps you haven't. But I'll show those to you in a moment. So, okay. So first of all, let's start with a little bit of chat. And what I'm going to go do is just go find my favorite demo buddy, and that's James Skay. So I'm going to reach out to James, and you can see it's picking up a couple different ones. We're still working on sorting that out. We may be picking up different devices, but
yeah, that's a common thing, right? You want to consolidate that contact list search down and have it pop up with just that one user. Yeah,
yep.
They'll get there.
And then we can actually begin chatting with James and working on that, and then James will respond back. Where is my coffee intern? He's not an intern, by the way.
James is not an intern.
But because he has to be polite, I can pick on him now. Actually, when James decides to fire back at me, it's pretty dangerous. He's kind of still at Starbucks. Yeah, exactly. So there's a little bit of that, and so I'm able actually now to have chats with people, which is great. Again, a very basic thing, and hopefully that turns up, and you can see right away that actually is in my conversation history. So again, very basic, but it shows you that we're making progress on the client. We're adding features.
Can you tickle the Windows PC, because we just dropped off from the there we go.
All right. Sorry about that. So
it's okay.
Keep reminding my Windows PC to stay awake. So
Paul's got to keep all the plates spinning.
I'm so boring my PC falls asleep. Yeah. So okay, so that's great. And then of course, had I need to look them up, and I had showed you already this, it's easy to find contacts. Okay, great. So let's take a look at a couple other things. So I'm going to go ahead now And you could see that when I dropped on James' connection, I could see the different options available to me to be able to communicate with him. So I'm going to reach out and make a video call. So this is that P2p call we talked about that's still in the product. And I'm calling James right now. I'm going to go ahead and I think I have to wait for the call to go through, and then I'll mute my mic because when my mic gets muted, here we go. All right. Oh, here he goes. Great. So James now is in the meeting. I'm going to hide the muted out because, to be honest, you may think we have a vast campus, and we do, but actually the three of us all sit pretty close together. So we're probably going to get echo, so I have to be careful. James' office is just right around the corner. So you'll see that James is now on the call, and we could go ahead and have an audio exchange. We're working on getting video working as well. It's not there quite yet, but it will be there shortly. And then we'll be able to have both audio and video in these calls, which is great. And then we'll be able to go ahead and have a full-on call. And even though you're waiting for those traditional voice features in August, you'll be able to do some of this calling today. So,
totally. So the calling today is between rich clients. The voice features that you're talking about, really those are what we would classically talk about as enterprise voice features. So those are dialing out to the PSTN, having numbers be normalized, being, doing the transfer, all the kind of call management, transfer, hold, simul ring, all those kinds of pieces.
That's right.
Generally, we think about those as all kind of enterprise voice sorts of features.
That's right. Well, yeah, literally just tying in. One of the big things is just tying into traditional telephony versus using VoIP or P2P, depending on how you want to describe it. Okay, great. So that actually shows you some of the enhancements there in the client. Let's also go ahead and we can scroll through. We can see I have different meetings here. They were just, a couple of these I admit are actually mock titles for meetings just to help fill my calendar and make it look appropriate. Look like I'm really busier than I am. And the one that really got Jamie going was laughing at me when he realized I titled one of the meetings Cloud Approach. It wasn't clear if this was a guidance for software usage or pilots having a conversation about it landing their airplane. So, but we'll look at the 9 to 10 o'clock one, which is FY17 planning. It's a demo. This is going to be a little exciting because typically how we do these things is I just send out a burst invite to about 15 people, and that's why the word demos in it. We'll see who actually is in it. It may be only a couple of our demo laptops, or we may have people turning up for it. So we'll see who actually shows up. And see, there's a surprise already. So there's BJ right now. He's actually already in the meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my video, and there's James' video. And we'll see if the other videos will start, and we'll be able to get rolling. And so you can see that there's BJ. Oh, BJ's wearing a no-collar shirt today. I'm kind of excited. It's a Cuban shirt as well. That's interesting. Okay.
So again, don't be judging the frame rate of this stuff. This is literally, I'm sitting right next to the Mac. All the videos looking fantastic. But it's going from the Mac through another PC into mine, and then out to the broadcast with you. And then my little camera view is actually a mobile client that we set up and started running. That's a little ways away from me. I'm going to walk over to that and kind of tickle it and see if I can get its video going.
Okay. So we can see we have what we call coffee cam, and we can see BJ having a little bit of coffee. I'm going to ask BJ just to share like a slide if you can. If you can find something to share. I'm sorry putting you on the spot there, BJ. Hopefully that's okay. And then James, if you could not, I believe, actually no, James, you're on your Windows PC, and I think BJ is, but Jamie's going to go ahead and toggle the actual. We have an iPhone dialed in as well, which is actually in the back of our enormous studio and allows us to show the studio. But I think we're struggling a little bit with that one. It's in the call, but it's the video is not starting. So.
You know what? I think it's a camera issue. I'm not iPhone aware.
Yeah. Yep. No worries. Oh, wait, something's happening. It's turned black. So there we go, and we're actually able to go ahead. And James is putting his thumb up, so that means that video is coming through on some end. So. But you can see now, we call this GVC, or group video calling. So a little different than how the Windows client looks with its gallery, but we have a traditional one, and right now it's set up, and again, this is preview, things do change. But right now, today, we would see 4, and that was amazing. Now we see actually a slide being shared on our client, and which is great. And I'll go ahead and just maximize the client for full effect. Thank you so much, BJ. And you guys can actually see that on the right is the chat window. So James, pop into the chat window if you can, and chat and have a chat there, and we can actually see a presentation on the slide itself. So this is great. So what are you seeing? You've seen group video calling, meaning 4-way video for people. You've seen us go ahead and share content in there. And we actually have a chat going as well. And shockingly enough, James, as a Microsoft employee, really likes your slide, which is great. So that is fantastic. And so this is what's coming. So again, I think I missed I buried the storyline as I started into this back segment and then mentioned it casually in the middle. But the reason why we're talking about it now is you guys traditionally know I turn up on these Fridays when there's something happening next week.
It's happening.
And so I want to be clear. That's why we always say next week, because of course I do believe I am superstitious, like an old person from the old country or something. But I'm careful not to say the day, but it could be sooner to the fireworks than later to the fireworks. So hopefully that gives you an idea. But hopefully what you'll see next week.
Wait, the fireworks of Canada Day? Well, that's today.
Oh, that's right.
Canada Day's today.
Sorry, that was a very American centric moment. I gotta fix that. So
I totally had
July
to call Paul out on that.
July 4th is an American holiday for our international folks, and so we're closed on that day. So nothing's happening on July 4th, Monday, except perhaps beer consumption amongst the team here. But what will happen later on next week will be the client will come out. There'll be a blog. There may be some social activity as well on our LinkedIn and chat and channels to point people back to blogs and back to this video, etc. So, and that's really it. That's what's happening to clients. So I would like to kind of wrap it up and summarize, right, what's going on. So I know you've had to wait a little bit. There's been a bit of a pause in terms of our updates. That was so that we could hit this marker, and so we've done it. So I want to reassure you that going forward, we should see updates on a roughly 2 weeks, but I emphasize the word roughly, so it could be a little faster, it could be a little slower. It's driven by quality needs, right? So if we encounter a bug that's a little challenging, we may rush out a new build in a few days. And if we can, we like to batch it up and come every 2 weeks. So we'll see 2 or 3 of those, and then eventually we'll see the voice features become the product. And then down the line, we'll see the actual product go generally available. Now, I want to re-emphasize one other point, which is I mentioned it already, but I think it's super important to understand. With over 20,000 people signed up, we're full, and we have gotten everybody in. So I apologize if you don't have the Mac client today. We will not be accepting new people at this time. We're pausing. If you do have the Mac client, then you're okay. You're going to automatically get updates. And in case, let me go ahead and show you. In case,
I will switch over so you can show
I'm sorry.
them. No, it's so good.
We're
talking about it. It's all good. No.
So just one last thing. If you look up here in the menus, there's one item called check for updates.
Oh, yeah.
And so mine better. Oh, look at that. There's already something new. I'm a little surprised by that. That's what happens when you do demos. Suddenly you're surprised by your own demo. So apparently there is a new update. So you won't get this update yet. What's happening here is just to understand how we do things. We have basically rings, and the first ring of updates is Microsoft employees. So I am a Microsoft employee, and we're the ones who take basically. Think of it another way: if you're on a battlefield and you're charging, there's the poor guys who are in the front of the line, holding the spears and the shields, hoping they can get to the front before getting pierced by an arrow. That's me. I'm taking the client. Or
the canaries in the coal mine.
That's right.
Should there be some some ridiculous blocking bug or something else that comes up on any particular build that's not caught, we catch it in this early release before it comes out to the rest of the world. Which is absolutely right.
That's right. That's right. And so then the second line of people is after the internal, it passes the internal validation. It goes to, we have a very small handful of super tapped customers who are high touch and willing to be high touch. In other words, they get on daily calls. Anytime there's an update, they usually are on a call with one or more engineers talking about it. And then we watch their reaction closely for a set amount of time. And then the third ring is you guys, the public preview. So don't forget, go up and just hit that Skype for Business and be able to do your updates. Or if you're stopping and starting the client on a daily basis, you should see next week the call for updates. And typically what we see is, so I think that build was 2373 for me. That means, not always, but typically that means we'll give 2374 to our tap customers. And you guys potentially will get 2375 unless we do another quick loop on the client version again. If we run into a bug today, for instance, there'll be a turn. Plus, all of our engineers are out in Stockholm, so as much as they love America, they are not working on. They are working on July 4th, I believe. They're not celebrating July 4th. So there will be another turn on that client even as we're enjoying our holiday.
So this is fantastic. So new love on the Mac and new goodness with PSTN conferencing for toll free. UK calling is now generally available. Go and check that out. Again, if you buy over the web, there'll be a couple weeks delay, but for everybody else, UK calling is up in there. And then if you're a server customer, check out CU3 on the server. Bunch of great new features, including video-based screen sharing, multiple emergency number support, and busy options. There's just a ton of great stuff. We'll be talking about all of this and more in 2 weeks at the Worldwide Partner Conference, also in Canada. So for everyone in Canada, happy Canada Day today, and we'll be seeing you a little bit up in Toronto at WPC. And are we good?
I think it's a wrap.
Awesome. Hey, thanks so much for everyone for coming out and joining us. We'll see you in 2 weeks for the next one.
All right, guys.
Be well.
Bye. Thank you.